Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as if pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the Calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though. Kid just rages for a while. An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber. Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines. Kid finds a memento from a girl he knew. Always used to fancy her. It's a wonder the old saloon's still standing. Used to have the nicest view. He sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The Calamity got him for his drinking did. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. The security takes him for a petty thief. Special delivery. Gas fellas. Windbags start turning up for last call. More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Them windbags are playing for keeps. Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. Ronde always wanted his ashes scattered here. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest man in the land. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Right back at you. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner. And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling. He finds the distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. Kid better watch his step. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. squirts, birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. That one was Maud, the tutor. Once taught the kid good manners. He never used them, though. An old ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Wasn't long before the kid could loose an arrow, strong and true. Kid takes a chunk of alloy. The smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Robs a scumbag of his last meal. Kid puts him out of his misery. He finds the core to the wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. See, that core Kid took was the only thing making this particular rock stay afloat. Kid just keeps running. Down he goes. Down toward the Bastion. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch. I try to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right. Except no one else showed up. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again. Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply. Party punch is so zesty, it'll let you carry on through the worst of times. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. The skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands. The Breaker Barracks. Many straight shooters learn their way here. The Wharf District. Folks sail deep into the boundless sea from here. The Workman Ward. Them windbags used to keep the city humming along here. The Breakers used to come here for target practice. Used to play a little game. See who could bust the most targets and the fewest shots. He's focused, he's armed, and he's off. Perfect shot just happens in a flash. Kid ain't done bad at all. He returns with some of the materials we need. Ain't always much to say. Kid ain't had enough of the Breakers' barracks. Takes practice, and a mighty strong bow helps too. Solid performance. He's feeling real proud of that show. I almost don't believe it when he says he passed the Breaker's challenge. Sometimes a single look says it all. Can't be too careful these days. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets. But which one? He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time. Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. No sign of the core here. At least the kid got something for his trouble. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. He heads for the biggest dump in town, Scumbag Alley. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is, the oldest scumbag of them all, Gershel. But Calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition. They always said old Gershel wouldn't go without a fight. The rest of the path is gone for good, and his city crest won't bring it back. No core, no surprise. Like the gas fellas are hiding it from him. Somehow that old forge is still standing. Odd place to find the likes of Percy the Snitch. Never much cared for that big wide grin of his. Inside the forge, Key can fine-tune those instruments of his. With a good length of meat gut, that bow's like new again. Kid packs a special surprise in every one of those arrows. Core ain't here neither. So he's gotta guess again. Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock. Know why gas fellas all dress alike? Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. A blustery old foreman is keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. And now there's a new marshal in town. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack, the monument's calling for it. The windbags used to be alright, then the Calamity took the floor out from under him. Kid does it again, only fair he decides what we build next. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the Calamity, it had to be stab weeds. Blasted things hurt like a broken heart. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. He cuts down every stab weed like there's gonna be a prize for it. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. Some of the stuff lying around was downright dangerous. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squirt's born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while. scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Heard he popped that mean old foreman. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30, hard to tell. Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. It's a troublesome scene to be sure. Moments left, and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7. We give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. A bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff. The little Zolwood oil and that blade shines like a light. Windbag Ranch was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful. Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. Slippery little devils. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Still others use the place to test their finest blades. Place gets awful slick sometimes. Kid cuts all of them down soon enough. Kid comes back from Windbag Ranch, smelling good and ripe. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. But then... somebody gets to the core before the kid. The floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. So could a reckless kid, for that matter. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Stray valuables are lying everywhere. The kid thinks twice about risking his hide for him, well, the path ain't exactly open to visitors no more. Security's all fired up. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Not so much for noise and tomfoolery. Sky bridges link the path together. Whips the kid along. Finds a spyglass, like the ones they'd use to search the stars. But Calamity changed everything. even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Scumbag ate it by mistake. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. He's wise to toss those things far away. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. In all this toil, Kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the Calamity? So he didn't find the core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. We could always see the stars, we just never could reach them, no matter how high we built. The dead welcome him with open arms. The Calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. He don't much care to see him. Not like this. These folks never saw the Calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. Someone who ain't like Mr. Beckley and his kindly wife. It was someone like him. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Norty the Bird Boy didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it, but him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? The core survives as well. Kid does what he has to do. And then, what do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zolf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other, for the first time. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. For Zolf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. We all lost loved ones in the Calamity, he says. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without mine. Zolf offers to help me plot the skyways for the kid. At least the Calamity hasn't touched the stars, he says. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. The cores. They remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be alright. Well, look what we have here. The memorial. Here a kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction. Just another one of my sketches. Nothing more. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Pith orchard. Place is a dead end in more ways than one. The gods ain't gonna catch you if you fall. Folks used to make pilgrimage here to pay their respects to Pith, the bull. Well, the gods are long gone now. And the orchard core is long gone too. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. Pith stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. He couldn't even save his loyal subjects. Pith makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pith lights up like a rodeo. Ain't easy punching through his hide. Kid breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods? Or tell them off? Kid don't need favors from the likes of Pith. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. Popping windbags is hard enough. No need to get the gods involved. Joseph kid tampered with that shrine. Kid ain't found a core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. Now we can build a shrine of our own, though I got some alternatives in mind. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. The Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. The accused always got a fair shake in Caelondia. Some used to take the bullhead trial. Survive the trial without taking a scratch, you'd walk away a free man. A bullhead trial taught folks three things. First, a good defense is a good offense. Second, you gotta always watch your back. Kid pulls it off like it was nothing. There's a hint of pride in his eye when he gets back, and more than a hint in mine. There's only one way to cinder bring a foil. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the force crawling with windbags. The Calamity was mercy. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze or starve or face the kid. Wham! Kid's ready for the windbags this time. Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift. Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The Calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very fort. Could have been minding the business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use the marshal supplies, but the kid sure can. He stashes the marshal's prize. Goes back to something more his style. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame him for wanting it, though. So many of those sorry things hold up inside that old fort. Not a scratch on him as he presses on the higher ground. Is plain gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. Kid ain't afraid of getting burned. They trapped the kid in the middle of the force parade grounds. And all their scumbag uncles. They got something to gain, only their sorry hides to lose. Kid takes down Glutus, or maybe it was Glandon. The other big fella soon joins his brother, wherever they are now. The windbags finally get the message. He'd used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. The skyways a welcome sight after all that, and now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was a smoking pipe. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him. Kid takes another drag, and goes out like a light. The arm of justice. They seemed unstoppable. The marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now. Zulf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. Behold the Pantheon. Ever felt a Zolwood gourd, like picking up broken glass barehanded? At Zolwood Grove, marshals learned to make every shot count. The trick was to pop all those nasty gourds without wasting ammo. Most marshals didn't get far on their first few tries. Had to catch a bunch of those gourds in a single shot. Funny thing about muskets is they work best up close. It took a keen eye, not an itchy trigger finger. Marshals did more than just stand around shooting, of course. The city's unwanted things all met their end in the yard. Folks who fouled up would do their time here, smashing things to bits. The quicker they worked, the sooner they could go. Folks learned to plant their feet and put their backs into it. Others would plot a course to navigate that sea of junk. just smashing to feed a family for a week. Ever want to just smash things for a while? You know where to go. The Langston River flowed free and wild till the Calamity drank it all up. Maybe all that water just grew wings and flew off. Riverbank swarming with windbags. They're so bent on finding the core, they hardly notice the kid. Lucky for him, a certain famous ferry barge is still afloat. Weepin' Nellie. She sends some squirts crying home as she leaves port. Maybe Nellie knows the way to the core. Maybe she can slip right past all the clamor on the coast. Or maybe not. The security skiff pulls up portside. Nellie's just another windbag to those guns. Just then, the windbags notice who she's sailing with. Try to cut her off. They try to slow her down. They try to knock her out. Well, Weepin' Nellie tries harder. Try as she might, though, she hits a snag. Kid's gotta help her get untangled. Favors for favors. At least she picked a good spot for a break, 'cause the core's right there. Kid hears an unusual sound, like 100 flapping wings. Peckers. They had their own eyes on the core. But why? Well, Kid ain't got time to think it over just yet. He finds Weepin' Nellie raring to go. Turns out she's got a special surprise for when the waters get rough. She's gonna need a little help with all them pickers. Crafty things think they're king of the roost now. The rest of us only wish we could fly in times like these. Skiffs keep on coming, starboard side. Don't seem to care what they shoot, as long as they hit something. The windbags getting even better out here. They aim to smash Weepin' Nellie to splinters. Well, it all proves too much for poor Nellie. just gotta make one last stop. With the last breath, Nellie gets the kid to solid ground. Solid ground in Pecker country. They want that core real bad. Might be they want it just as bad as a kid. Kid shoos them off, knowing they'll be back. Know how many times kid nearly fell off the bar back there? Not even once. Now, listen close. You should remember this next part. Why go to Prosper Bluff? Used to take an enterprising man or a plain old fool to venture out that far. The city was the most beautiful place in the world. We all knew that. But on the other hand, some folks just yearn to see the things they're told they can't. And that's why you go to Prosper Bluff, ain't it? There the kid hears something he ain't heard in a long while. How's it go again? Yeah, that's the one. Well, no point explaining what happens next, right? Suffice it to say, kid ain't coming home empty-handed. And besides, it's like the song goes. They'll be here before too long. We darn near celebrated when the kid got back, didn't we? Zolf never thought he'd see a fellow or again. We become fast friends. Calamity has that effect on people. But there was more to be done. there was one last core to find. Kid's surprised when I tell him there's only one core left. I shouldn't have believed it either. Most of the Ura never got a taste of Caelondia's fine goods, unless they were born and raised in the city like Zia here. Sure, the world's all gone to pieces farther than the eye can see, but leave it to this gal to point out the amazing view. Girl tried to run away from home one time, but the marshals stopped that, didn't they? So many secrets in there and she can't even read it. Her father's own journal. If only I'd known half the secrets of the Calamity were tucked away in that book, I'd have worked to translate it right away. A scientific journal written in Zolf's native tongue. He learned so much from it. Too much. The lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. His bow's looking lean and mean like a prize fighter. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Points just don't get any sharper than that. We track the final core beyond the city to the wilds. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. You know what's better than having a slinger pistol in a fight? Having two. Savage things lurking at every turn. Pincushions ain't the worst of it either. Pecker's got the core, like that built the Bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. They shouldn't have let their guard down. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Wallflowers survived the Calamity. It toughened him up. Same goes for the kid. Good thing pincushions can't see where they're shooting. A handful of windbag shipments made it out this far. Kid's seen the last of them. Klinger Jawson's old outpost is all that's left of him. Kid sticks to his old standbys. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. Kid's roused up half the wilds by now. Jawson's boys left all kinds of stuff out here. Gotta keep a sure foot out there. Then Kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and he only make him mad. The wild's already reclaimed this place. Wild green vine apples about the only good thing out here. He's anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The Calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped, started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. Takes a lot of moving pieces to make a dependable sidearm. He's made a right comfortable bed for all those bullets. You have to think fast to survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire could be its own challenge. things get faster. Well, even the slingers weren't quick enough to escape the Calamity. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Jawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, it's somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. There and welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of Ligura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. Now the Bastion can send him even farther, into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. As a petty thief, the security's just meant to straighten him out. Succeeds where the Calamity fails. Would you look at what he did to poor old Ronnie the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Pith, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. Breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. Hard to get a sure footing in the bog. Say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, a kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Arrows like that can practically find their own way. The breakers. Ain't no one can outrun them. Or their arrows. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothus Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. Can't get hasty in a place like this. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and it's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the queen's running out of options. Still no sign of the shard. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping luckheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. That old gator's right on his tail. Bad idea to walk in gator grass. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Seems even stinkweeds know to stay away from the queen. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. The shard's sitting in plain view. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. She's starting to get annoyed. And now he's made her mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. If you're feeling low, count on the buttery flavor of our own Bastion bourbon. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. That gator's a crazy gal, but so's the gal who promised to look after her. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. Kid don't always care for fancy guns and things. A bow and pike'll do just fine. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. Don't want that thing leaving your hands until you decide it's time. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The grand rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand rails all grown over with things the Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. place used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rails seem much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Caelondian War. It was right here that Zulf's forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. Not much wiggle room up there near the rail. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for him, though. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into swamp central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While choking on swamp weed? While peckers trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. But then, at last, it's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first, he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. This is for you, says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the Calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wonder just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Black rye is like hot pineapple chowder on a cold day. Brings back memories. The shards are getting harder to find. To prepare for the wilds, Caelondia's brushers practice at Camp Donce. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Donce. They said they made you weak. The rules said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pike. Sometimes the course was brutal. Just getting through the course in one piece was an accomplishment. You can see why the brushers prize those pikes of theirs. Hearty punch is so zesty, it'll let you carry on through the worst of times. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Caelondia. Caelondia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelondian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. The kid ain't bad, but the Triggers were better. His ears must be ringing after all that shooting. Not everything blew up in the Calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here, but we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. Taste the air so hot it sticks to your lungs. Best to keep out of the cauldron. Sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. We kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Culford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the Calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. And where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. Kid don't shed any tears for him, though. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. A culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes. They said the wild could never be tamed, if only they could see us now. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. The memorial may be finished, but our part is far from over. a strange and fearsome team. At least it won't get cold around here with that thing around. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zand. Welcome to Grady Incinerator, home of the hottest wings east of Caelondia. In all seriousness, the incinerator was a dump, and it had a problem with peckers. Blasted things would swoop in and spread trash all around, until we started using fire. We couldn't just torch them all at once. We had to use restraint. Wasn't any other way to teach those peckers some respect. Who knows why we fought so hard to defend our own trash? Without an insulated air intake, that thing's liable to blow up on you. Can't rightly call Mount Zand a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. We only found that little lair because they found themselves a little shard. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. But they ain't yet prepared for any company. They even dragged their children into this. stinks. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down, quick and clean. Besides, we have to take back what's ours. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Look at it this way. It's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. The beasts of Mount Zan go all out. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. Fixed that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. The monument's getting better, Those elves sure did a number on it, though. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Finders keepers. The city, its riches nothing but fragments now. Toughest thing about using that gas can is keeping a grip on it. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Caelondia's armada was a glorious sight, and our ship's mortars were unstoppable. At Boundless Bay, our navy put those mortars through a rigorous inspection. Had to use squirts to simulate explosive impact on the surface of the sea. Galleon skippers needed to be patient, needed to fire at just the right times. Sounds like the kid's mortar's in tip-top shape. Too bad about the armada, but at least one of those mortars survived. Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes burstone quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the Calamity. Same goes for its natives, rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. The quarry's secrets ain't exactly obvious. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Without those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told them the quarry's bad news. Windbags tended to the rocks, so we had to keep the Rattletails at bay. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen, the largest ones, you know as cores. The smaller ones, we call them shards. The shards got a fraction of a core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said Rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to Colin, Sir Lunky. Massive thing stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. We never could get stubborn old Lunky to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. It's him. "I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." Say what you will about Zolf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. Too bad for that. Zolf showed him the way here, and here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. I should have told him sooner about all this. Unfortunately, they broke in, and they started digging their hole. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away at this place. We tried to stop them, but we needed help. Our baby pecker, he don't make it. Our little squirt, he don't make it. Somehow, some way, he sends those packing. Problem is, it didn't matter. Zolf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the came. To get us back. For the Calamity. It was Caelondia's master plan to wipe the out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zolf knew the whole story. What were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started. Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. Now all we need is one last shard. The Mercy. The windbags ain't the only beast that drew a bad lot. The skippers delivered us from the motherland. The sanctuary. If we can build, we can rebuild. The conscience. We haven't lost everything, long as we have that. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. Live wine so rich, they say it's brought men back from the brink for one last taste. Ain't that the finest breaker's bow you ever seen? The swooped down from the east. At least now we know the way. One last shard. It's all we need to put this mess behind us. And mother, what a mess it is. A mess like that could have only been made by hand. Zolf said the Calamity failed, and he's right. The Ura stand as living proof of that. At the heart of the Calamity was a simple idea. We never wanted to go to war again. We wanted to rule it out. We put a lot of folks against that problem. Scientists, soldiers, spies, even me. We sought solutions far beyond the city. We traveled near as far as the kid's going right now. Most of our efforts didn't bear fruit.
Toss this up.
Then there was a breakthrough, but it didn't come from one of our people. It came from an Ura, a brilliant young scientist named Ven. Ven worked for the Mansers, the sharpest knives in the city's drawer.
Gloving on.
With his help, the Mansers devised a way to seal the Ura tunnels shut in a flash. Just like that, every last Ura living in the Tassel terminals will be gone. This discovery was never to be used, they said, except as a last resort. But Ven didn't like being manipulated. He had plans of his own. He sabotaged the Mancer's little science project, set it to blow up in their faces. Imagine how Ven must have felt when they finally made him pull that trigger. But remember, the Bastion can fix everything. We just need that shard. Too bad the Ura ain't exactly been willing to collaborate on that front. For now, Kid had little choice but to pick up where the Calamity left off. First things first, though. There's someone we figured needed rescuing. Zia. The Ura fell back, no doubt planning the next move, but we knew ours already. The cinders kept the city good and warm, made it thrive. There's something we had to do before going after that last shard. Well, now it's personal, ain't it? It's personal for him, and it's personal for me. He finds his moment to strike. The Calamity did something wrong with some of them rocks. He gets his hands on the care package I sent him. The Ura found a way to keep the Calamity from spreading through Sultan's Hollow. They got their own security and everything. Pretty fancy, even. Still, they ain't used to having visitors around. They've got these conductors that are always keeping the place together. Break enough of those things and the Calamity rocks slink back into the ground. Those rocks are like tumors, the same kind the Ura planted in the Bastion. Well, the Ura must be in a panic right about now. Kid's done using the Calamity's power for now. But the Ura ain't finished. They even sick their little rattletail pets on the kid. Those rodents are just a bump in the road. By now, every Ura from here to the terminals must know he's in town. Kid returns their greeting tenfold. Most of the Ura's conductors are squared away in the middle of the hollow. They're easy targets. Those Calamity rocks must be eating that place apart from the inside. Keep hanging on to their barricade. After all, their homeland's not much farther. Maybe they know they've lost this. Lost to a kid. Some of them are downright bewildered by what's happening. They underestimated us. Had us pegged all wrong. Yes, our people caused the Calamity, but here we are trying to fix it. Shame the opportunity for civilized discourse is over. It's not the time to get reckless. Did the Ura really think we just turn around and walk away? Suppose old Zolf should have got to know us better. Maybe I should have trusted him. told him everything I knew. Zolf, the Ura, they have every reason to be angry. Beyond angry. As the hour grows desperate, the Ura bring out their big guns. But when this is all over, it'll all be water under the bridge. There's nothing standing in his way no more. He sees the Tassel terminals loom large on the horizon. Way out there on the edge of the world, that's where he finally finds you. But it ain't like Prosper Bluff this time. Ain't nothing for this gal to sing about now. Zia, you weren't kidnapped. No, ma'am. You just had to see what happened to the Ura. To your own people. You had to see if everything Zolf wrote to you was true. Sure you didn't drop that twangy thing on purpose? Just to see if he'd go after you? They lost everything, didn't they? But they just keep on fighting like that's gonna bring it all back. The country, she's all to pieces now, but still looking good. I don't need to see what happened to the Ura. I'm trying to undo it, remember? That thing wasn't always meant to be a weapon, but there's no denying it now. When you've got a solid balance, you've got what you need. Once the kid gets that last shard from Zolf, it'll all be over. The Ura probably didn't know they were being watched from Mancer Observatory. It was the perfect spot to test something no one's meant to know about. Only trouble was, something about the place drove the windbags crazy. When the windbags caused enough trouble, the Mancers conducted their most secretive research far east of the city. A lot of collateral damage with her if you ain't careful. The more crowded it gets, the more trouble you can cause with a single shot. I can't hear him at all anymore. He's too far away. But he'll be all right. Just needs to get that shard from Zolf and come on home. The Calamity hit the Tazzle terminals hardest of all. You know why Zolf went back there. The place was his home. All his old friends and family were there. Taken by the Calamity. Zolf must be there all alone, just waiting. You know what's funny? All we can do is sit and talk. Well, all of us are waiting for a kid. Look around. There's not much left to do here in the Bastion, I'm afraid. So why not tell each other stories to pass the time, right? But Zia, there's another reason I've been telling you all this. There's something I want you to understand. When the kid brings back that shard, the Bastion will be complete. This disease the Earth planted here will go away. What happens to Zulf will no longer matter. Caelondia will be whole again. Everything will be back to normal. Everyone will be all right. Problem is, we'll all be gone. Oh, we're not gonna die. It's more like all of this will just stop. Things will go back to the way they used to be. That's the power of the Bastion. This whole place is a living record of the times before the Calamity. The way things were before this story. Good times, right? You be your old self again. Think of all those times that didn't go your way.
Let me go.
All of life's little setbacks. Imagine if you could have another go at them. No mistakes. Anyone you've ever heard. Everything you've ever done, you could do it over. And wouldn't that be grand? Wouldn't you agree? Well, I guess there's nothing more to say.
Marasim. Is it? Brandiga. Brandigas.
Ah, who am I kidding? Look. There's something else. A confession. How come I know so much about the Bastion?
Brandiga!
Well, I designed the place, but that's beside the point. There's one problem with a place that sets things back to a bygone time. You can't test it. So you're probably wondering if the Calamity happened already. What's to stop it from happening again after the Bastion does its thing? The answer is... I don't know. You're wondering if there ain't some other way out of this mess. It's alright. I can tell. But why would you even want another way? Unless you wanted to stay here with us. Well, that's sweet and all, but I don't know if I can stick around. The weight of the Calamity. It's on our shoulders. We can't just let it go. Bastion does have another function, strictly speaking. If ever the monument blew out and we couldn't repair it, we could still evacuate. First, we'd round up as many folks as we could carry. Next, we'd detonate the cores, and we'd take off away from here. Of course, that would mean no going back. Ever. But then again, that way all of us could leave the city. Together. You know Zolf and his countrymen won't be giving up that shard without a fight, don't you? Zulf and the Ura. All they want now is to see the Bastion fall. Zulf dedicated his life to a lasting peace between the Ura and Caelondia.
Biga. Dingais. Radozat.
He can't have imagined the city would try to wipe the Ura out. Zulf ain't lost every shred of decency though, has he?
Let me go.
He tried to warn you about his plans. He tried to warn the kid. For Zulf, this ain't a personal matter. It ain't a simple matter of pride either. One thing's for sure, the Ura can't be happy that the kid followed Zulf all the way home. I can see it now. The kid in one corner, and Zulf in the other. Ain't much of a fight. Don't you worry, though. Once the Bastion's restored, it'll all be alright. You ain't still thinking about that whole leaving the city thing, are you?
Right, Elise. There's him.
Kastizam!
Viga.
Uzet, Viga! Braisalis!
Pazet. Braiselis. Ha. Viga.
Kid's probably dealt with Zolf by now.
Braiselis.
He reminds me of myself when I was his age. I ever tell you about those days? Hey, kid. Get up, kid. Come on, that ain't funny. I say get up. That's more like it. Now, set that shard into the monument there. Then we'll talk. The Bastion. It's finally finished. Now, there's something I want you to see. Welcome to the heart of the Bastion. I ain't one for long goodbyes, so here's the deal. Zia and I figure you done the heavy lifting, so you get to do the honors. We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions. Hey, kid. You can undo the Calamity here and now. Go on, kid. And before I forget, thank you. Always wondered what the motherland was like. Not that it matters anymore. Zolf only brought more ruin to the Ura. No wonder they didn't take kindly to him. You've got one thing left to do, so you hang on to that badge. Besides, you earned it. Don't let anything you've done get to you. You can save all those creatures here and now.
You made it. So, let's see. You can either prevent the Calamity, or stick around with me and Rucks. I'd hate to be in your shoes. If I could be any place I wanted, I'd stay right here. We could go anywhere in the world. Zolf tried to talk me into joining him. I tried to talk him out of it. I guess we both failed. When I finally found my people, I told them we could help. They just took me for a traitor. Glad you showed up. Any moment I'd want to live again happened after the Calamity, not before.
Oh, mother. And here I figured you'd had enough of me by now. You could have undone the Calamity itself. But instead you want to stay. In a world like this. I gotta admit, kid, I ain't yet put much thought in that idea. Of carrying on. With you here. We can't go back no more. But I suppose we could go wherever we please. And if anyone's left out there, I sure would like to see the look on their faces when we dock this thing right on their doorstep. Getting ahead of myself, though. I'm gonna need a first mate. What do you say?